Hello Marvel Heroes fans, my name is Wilfred Wong and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll talk about Jean Grey, one of the most iconic heroes in X-Men, the Marvel Universe, and also in this game as well. She has been with the game since the very beginning. For those of you who has been with me since the closed beta, have seen her evolve a lot since then. You know, back then in the beginning, she was more like just a phoenix. You can't really see the costume until later on become something like this. So there has been plenty of feedback on Jean Grey, and Gazillion has done a great job in incorporating all this idea and feedback, but it also makes the hero more and more complex, and in as such, I would like to create a video on two parts to it. First of all, it's about her specialization, because she can be specialized into Omega level mutant, cosmic avatar, as well as the powerful harmony. So the specialization itself is not at all trivial. On the mathematics behind all this power, be as when she's from a phoenix form to human form versus from dark phoenix form to phoenix form. So all these things I'm going to cover in the part 1 of the video, specialization. Just in case you started playing Jean Grey and you're not quite sure which path shall you be taking, because each path required a very specific gearing. So you may want to make the decision up front, and after that, just enjoy the rest of the game. Now, the part 2 of the video, I'm going to focus a little bit more on the powerful harmony specialization, also known as a hybrid build. Why is it so? Because I think out of the 3 specializations, that one is probably a little bit more complex. So I would like to just look at the things that are more complex, and it will be applicable to you as well. In as much as possible, I'll highlight which are the power to consider if you are not picking this specialization, rather the other 2. All right. So that is very much what I'd like to cover today, and later on I'll show you the number behind it. It's probably one of the most complex number crunching, and because of that, I'm going to time code all this segment of the video, so feel free to look at the description of this video and jump to the part that may interest you the most. And the last but not the least, if you find this guide useful, under the description there's going back to my website wilfredwong.com, and inside there's a whole list of video for you to pick, from new player guide to advanced player guides to the guide for all the heroes and some of the team-ups as well, or most of the hero and some of the team-ups as well. And okay, so why should you play Jean Grey? Now, Jean Grey is one of the hero that is relatively easy to manage and play. The visual effect is fantastic. You can see fire everywhere if you play her as Phoenix, and and she's powerful as of right now. She's one of Gazillion's favorites, and not much spirit issue at all, not much health issue at all as well. So that is fantastic. And there may be a little bit of stand dancing or hot bar dancing for some of the build that you may pick, but I think by and large it's very simple, very easy to play, very engaging, kind of exciting when things are like happening in different kind of formats. So I'm going to show it to you as well. So just sit back and stay tuned. First, let's talk about the specialization for Jean Grey, the 3 specializations, as well as what are some of the power or cycle that you need to pay attention to, regardless of which specialization you are using. But before I go do that, let me show you. My wife has just made a grape juice, and I'm going to try it and see whether it's nice or not. And oh, it's really nice. So when you play Jean Grey, there are 2 forms to it. One is the Phoenix form, and another one is a human form. Now, you could pick either form based on your preference, because some people, some of you may enjoy seeing Jean as a Phoenix. Some may enjoy Jean as a human form. The difference is quite a fair bit, because when she's in her human form, she's using her mind, so it's more like a mental power. And when she's using a Phoenix form, she's actually using the energy from the fires and all. So in that aspect, not only the type of damage differs, the power itself also take on a different kind of variation as you switch between the 2 forms, as you toggle between the 2 forms. And when you play the Phoenix, you have to play something like a Dark Phoenix cycle to it. And when you play the human form, you don't need to worry about all these things. And Phoenix form has an extra 5% damage negation. So something to think about. And when it comes to the specialization, as soon as you invest 1 point into the Dark Phoenix, all this specialization is open up for you. And there's a lot of words here. So what I'm going to do, simply put, is that when you play the Omega level mutant, the first one, it buffs the mental power tremendously. But you have to play in human form. The toggle itself will then have like I think half a minute kind of cooldown. So you can't really switch to Phoenix and switch back to human form. So you have to stick with the human form, and you gain something called Power Team buff. It's probably one of the best team buff she has across the specialization, and that's why a lot of people prefer playing her in mental, especially if you want to solo content. All right, Cosmic Avatar is that instead of playing in human form, you play in Phoenix form, and that actually buff the energy power tremendously, and you gain something called Toughness. So that's Cosmic, that is Omega level mutant. And on the third one is the Powerful Harmony. Now, Powerful Harmony doesn't buff anything, substantially in terms of the energy or mental power, because I think what Gazillion wants is to force us to not to be able to take the best of two worlds, but in simply put, just play the hybrid. Now, I think hybrid is in an identity crisis here. Now, why did I say that? Because even when you play a hybrid, you still need to pick one of the form, because one of the form is clearly better, which is the Phoenix form for this particular Powerful Harmony. The mutant, the mental form, the human form, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that without the specialization, the mental power is just not up to par. So, so you rely more on the Phoenix power to sort of boost up your power output. So even when you play a Powerful Harmony, 99.9% of time you'll still be in a Phoenix form. You have a 20% faster gain in Phoenix Force. I'll talk about it a little bit later. And you gain something called Endurance Team buff. It's nothing too great, but it's just like, it's one of those team buff that some regen kind of thing. And then after that, you will require to stand down a little bit. F3, third Dark Phoenix cycle, then you have 2 buff if you do it right. So 1 buff is the damage rating, and another buff is health regen. So I think what Gazillion wanted us to do is that you either stick with the human form, which is the mutant level, Omega level mutant, or you stick with the Cosmic Avatar form, which is the Phoenix form, or you have to sort of like you won't get any of those buff from those specialization, but you in turn get a faster generation of Phoenix Force for you to have a faster cycle of Dark Phoenix form. So that's the gist of it. So now what does it really mean is that I've gone through the numbers. I know a lot of you, I know there's a lot of words here, just let me read it as well. So some of you know me, I invest a lot of time in looking into the mathematics behind it. So what I've done is that I've taken a level 60 gene with no gear, no omega point, no hero synergy, no team up gear and passive. Just look at the design perspective, because when you mix everything else, it becomes a discussion much wider than the design itself, because you're talking about mental artifacts versus energy artifacts versus hybrid artifacts, right? And that become a whole new different topics. And also the unique that you pick as well may influence the result outcome in a different way. So I'm just looking at the hero design, forget about all this else thing, everything else. Just look at the hero design. And I make certain assumptions as well. You could sort of read it all there. But what it really means is that between the Omega level mutant, which is the human form, and the Cosmic Avatar, which is the Phoenix form, they are very, very similar. I mean, in fact, the number come up very, very encouraging, because it's like within 1% or less than 1%. So, I would say if you pick the human form or Phoenix form, either way you are fine. Now, Powerful Harmony on paper, it doesn't really match up with the rest of the two. There's a 4% gap. Now, how do we close this 4% gap? I do not know. I mean, because when it comes to gear, when it comes to the artifacts and so on, it's very hard to gauge what is better in what way. So, but what I could say is that hybrid gear, there are some really good hybrid gear, but then, as time goes by, there are also better non-hybrid gear as well, meaning that a gear that can be used for any other heroes. So So it is what it is. I just would like to share this, the numbers with you. So what it really means is that it doesn't really matter which one you would like to pick, because I would just say pick the one that you enjoy the most, because or gearing the most. All right. I mean, within 4%, you probably would not feel the difference. And these are, by the way, no gear, no omega point, and so on. So as soon as you start investing gear in it, all this number would go a little bit, differently. But I mean, at least I would say they are very comparative, and because powerful harmony, also you gain something like better health regen and so on. So I guess they use that as one of the the way to balance between the various specialization, I guess. But if by looking at all this number, I would say powerful harmony probably can use a little bit more buff, I would say. All right. So but that is the specialization itself. Pick what you like. Just stick by it, because all your gearing option has to go along with that. Now, let's talk about the Phoenix form, because I think Phoenix form is the more interesting form of the aspect of the game. Because when you play Phoenix, you have something called Dark Phoenix, which lasts for 15 seconds, cannot be changed by power duration. And if you use a powerful harmony specialization, the entire cycle would take about 35 seconds, give or take, because for a single target environment is different from a multi-target environment from anything else, right? So I'm just looking at it from a single target wise. I can do about 30 to 35 seconds. So I make a conservative kind of like choice here. So within 35 seconds, you have 15-second Dark Phoenix. And within the 15-second Dark Phoenix, there are actually some other buff as well that modify certain power and provide different kind of like additional buff to the energy damage. And also make sure you recast the psychic lethargy as well, because that buff another I think a certain percentage on the energy for 10 seconds as of today. But if you use other specialization, you still have 15 seconds of Dark Phoenix, but it will take you longer in order to reach the Dark Phoenix form again. So, in order to balance, I think, attempt to balance between the three specialization, the powerful harmony are supposed to be more engaging in terms of using Dark Phoenix compared to, say, the cosmic avatar. All right, so that's the Phoenix. And but if you do not like to use the Phoenix, you could also use it during your mental form. When you use it during the mental form, it's just a large explosion, and that's all. You don't need to manage about recast certain things and so on and so forth. It is just business as usual. Run your rotation, nothing much to worry about. Just whenever Dark Phoenix is on cooldown, off cooldown, you use it. So that is the Dark Phoenix. All right. So when it comes to a legendary, a lot of people probably would like to know upfront how these which legendary to pick and so on. So I've actually put on all the gears. But I don't use the hybrid artifact proc, because that would change the number a little bit. So I simulate a part whereby you're gearing a gene, you have you have put all the nice unique and so on. You put the nice insignia and all the gear and so on. So now looking at this gene, it is the first time we can compare, say, Warlock and the Rod as well. So both of them at grade 80 is probably about 100%. The difference is only about 2%. So again, the numbers are very encouraging. It does tell a same story. Well, these are very important stuff. Bow itself still not competitive to the two. So when you pick, of course, pick the best. So if you are playing a human gene on the mutant level, omega level mutant, pick Warlock. And if we are playing a cosmic avatar gene, which is Phoenix, pure Phoenix, pick the Rod. Now the interesting part is the power cosmic. Power cosmic is only grade 70. Unfortunately, there's no love for hybrid that much, and there's no grade 80 version. So the difference between is about 5.4%. If you're looking at that versus all the 80. So up to you. You could suppose. If you use energy, I mean, even if you use hybrid, you could use a CCR, for the grade 80, and you will gain about another 4.4% or 5.4%, right? So that is something that you could invest in. But if you use the hybrid artifact proc, so now that one was for you to consider if you are unsure about which gene you'd use, and and if you pick one of the specialization, which legendary gear to use. But if you have decided for hybrid, like I have, then it's a different story, because with the hybrid proc, hybrid has an immense amount of damage rating, crit damage rating, crit as well. So these are very huge number going into the model, and when that comes in the mix as well, then the power cosmic is only within the 3.8 kind of like range versus the rod. So in that aspect, I wouldn't spend 1000 OD mark, because for me, Power Cosmic is like a free item. So I hope this part of the video is useful for you. This is mainly for the specialization. The next part of the video is focused on to the gene on hybrid form. All right. So today's share quest is on Kurse, as well as the armor also need Kurse. You know, some of these like what is it, the giants and elves and so on. So why not do a Kurse, a cosmic version? So I'm going to clear off everything, and so I mean, you know, she's really powerful. I mean, you know, it's just like just spreading the damage across, and she's also very like durable as well. So I'm going to talk about her while I'm playing this this terminal here. So I'm using Hammer as the main spender. I mean, Hammer is probably one of the best one for Jane. And the oh, okay, this is her signature, wonderful. And the alright, so I can also do fear as well, terrify them, like this one is terrify, and it's very good because it's irresistible. Alright, so Lataji is the first button that you see. It is very much like the it debuff, the vulnerability debuff is where the Lataji come from. Now you notice that I'm already full in Phoenix Force, so what I do is I stand down to the mental one, and I'll show you why it is so I can quickly get one of the buff, and the buff is for the powerful harmony buff, which is this one here. It gives me damage rating, so that is also very nice. So all this need to be down, then you know I can do like kinetic wave as well. I think it's called kinetic wave. Yes, it comes from the Phoenix herself, and let's do a signature. Yeah, okay, I get a bit of lag sometimes. And sometimes you feel that you have the opportunity to press something, but you can't. So yeah, I mean that's the story. But I don't need a mech kit. Just everything just fine here. So and the second buff is actually what I'm trying to get is the Dark Phoenix for the other buff, the second buff. So okay, I've got like a what? What is it? I saw like a little. Okay. I didn't see the buff actually, so I need to pick up. So okay, there's health regen here. Okay, so that is yep, there's bounty available, and I've got insignia here. I need to collect some mats as well. All right. So that's about it. Let's continue here. So nothing much. There's some fear, some you know, it's called Phoenix Inferno. Phoenix Inferno, you can up to 2 areas, so don't hesitate to overlap them if you require so. And the so I'm going to do is to get another buff if I can, but maybe not. So what I'm going to do is just to go in as a Phoenix. All right, so Dark Phoenix. All right, so yeah, he's bubbled up, so he's not eating a lot of my power. It's one of those that it's not that fantastic to look at because he bubbled up in the beginning, but I mean there's nothing much really when it comes to this part. So I've got some loot, and yep, that's about it. All right, so let me open this guy and see what's inside. Oh, okay. Okay, this is Cosmic Patrol, and with me Sync Up, my wife, and we are just starting on this Taskmaster wave, and usually it lagged quite a fair bit because there's a lot of like spawns here, so just bear with me while I'm sort of like, you know, going working my way through it, and I'm not quite sure how many people are there right now. The thing about a Phoenix is that you can't really see what's happening most of the time. Yeah, so Taskmaster just came out, and he should be here any moment, which is now. Okay, well, we have 2 bosses right now, so that is wonderful. Okay. So I always have to sort of like, you know, remember what kind of buff you have right now, because like you know, you want to have the 2 buff in, so I'm going to stand downs, and after that do the Dark Phoenix, and then after that down spell again. Alright, so that is one. And I'm starting to work towards the having the 2 stack of the Inferno, and whenever wave is up, do wave, whenever Terrify is up, do Terrify, so you know, the usual stuff. You know, nothing too hard, it's pretty relaxing. Jean is probably one of the hero whereby I don't really need to use Mag Kit most of the time, if at all. So yeah, I mean, that is the good thing about playing Jean. A lot of like crowd control as well, great area damage. In fact, everything I'm doing here is just area. Alright, so now it's Dark Phoenix in the Phoenix form, and a lot of fire, even more fire. And I'll just go in, you know, just click onto it, and whenever the wave, kinetic wave is on cooldown, just use it. And that's about it. Signature on cooldown, use it. So yeah, it's a lot of fire. Can't really see what's happening, maybe, but yeah, so that is what we do. Okay, so that is it. Okay, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun playing Jane. I like the simplicity. Sometimes you don't need to be too complicated. I mean, the hero itself is very complicated when it comes to the mathematics behind it. But if you don't really care about all this stuff that's going on, just want to play and, you know, work out the build, that's by and large very easy to play. And I highly recommend anybody who would like to, you know, just start a hero that is easy, not that tedious, and easy to gear, strong as well. So Jean is probably the one for you. A lot of like crowd control and so on. So now I can do another one, which is what shall I do? I shall do a damage rating, which is switch back to mental Jean. All right. So now I need to do a merc and stuff like that. So I'm trying to do some quests here as well, and and I'm just use a Dark Phoenix. Okay. So after that I can stand dance back. A little bit of lag here. All right. So that's about it. So now it's the Dark Phoenix, and should I go to it's high? Maybe I should. Alright, there's more here. Okay. Yeah. Okay, working my way through it, and signature. It's a bit of lag, so sometimes I can't really move, you know, as much as I would like to. Alright. So objective completed. I should have a chest soon, very soon. I don't know where. Alright. Okay, one of the objectives, so I still need to mag gear, still there's a lot of mag gear. And after that, maybe I should do the Dark Phoenix again. Okay, try not to get jumped by him. Okay, I can go. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I just want to be more like okay, so now it's the boss wave, so I would prefer to go to the boss wave now actually. Where are the boss wave? They usually have, okay, let me just go into flying mode. This is the Phoenix when she's flying. Very nice, no spirit consumption as per requested. And so, okay, which buff am I lacking? The mental one. So, yeah, it's a little bit of thinking which one to use and so on. So I need to be smart about where things are. Okay. Yeah, that hurt really bad. Okay, so I'm going to use the ultimate here. And once I use ultimate, I can go into another Dark Phoenix as well. Alright, just lift everybody up, alright, and smash it down. The problem with Jean is that at this stage, I can't really see what happened. Even if I'm being targeted by, you know, bullseye, I can't really see it that well. So that's always the challenge when it comes to Jean. But that's fine. I mean, I'm not complaining. I do love the fire and the visual effect and everything that come along with it. Don't get me wrong. So you know. Okay, another signature, and everybody lift that down and up, and I can do another. You know, I look at my buff. Which one can I use? I would prefer Dark Phoenix on Phoenix form if possible. I just swap to the mental one only if I require. So there, I mean, that's the way to play Jean. And whenever there's a cooldown on the Terrify, just Terrify, so that you know. Okay, another lift. And that's it. Okay, someone is down. Let me see if I could. Well, probably it's a little bit hard right now in the mix of everything else. Alright, just do another this bull eye. So the next time I need to do my Dark Phoenix, probably I need to toggle to the mental one because I'm running out. So I'm going to toggle to the mental one, and after that do a Dark Phoenix on the mental one. After that toggle back. So that is the gist of it when it comes to playing Jean. Okay, so lift up and that's it. Yeah, I mean, most of the time I can't really see like what am I doing right now here. But I mean, so long as she survives, that's fine. I've done my legendary quest as well. So I hope you enjoyed this part of the video, just a little bit on her cosmic patrol, and thanks to my wife, Cup, who's been playing with me. She's playing Thor right now here, as you can see. I hope you have enjoyed watching the in-game video for Jean Grey, and this part of the video is on the build, the gear, as well as the Omega system and so on. So now looking at this 168 points with the 3 extra from Limbo, this is what I've got. So start with the Specialization, Powerful Harmony, and 20 points on Dark Phoenix, and the single spender, I would highly recommend the Hammer because it has the area tag to it. If you toggle to human gene, then you don't have that, and that's one of the example whereby as you toggle into the Phoenix form, the power changes on its own. You know, some of the power changes, so that is something that I would recommend as a spender. So after you pick the spender, what do? You pick the layers, which is damage over time or cooldown. So damage over time layer, I would recommend the Lethargy. It has the vulnerability debuff, so that is very nice. And then after that, I recommend the Phoenix Inferno as well, because that you can maintain 2 areas, so use that. I believe you can overlap with one another because I've tried that. It seems to take more, so you know, let me know if it is not the case. Then after that, I'll recommend things like the Kinetic Wave as well. You got to be a little bit closer to the action, but it is a cooldown power, so that added layer. Now, of course, when it comes to the Crushing Telekinesis, which is the signature, very nice signature because it's sort of like stun the mobs or bosses for 2 seconds. So that's something I would recommend as well. 1 point into the flight because she can fly pretty fast, and it helps in the cosmic patrol as well as cosmic terminal farming. Okay, and the passive, there's only one of them, which is this guy here, telepathic detection. So it's give you a nice crit damage rating, and more importantly, give you an accuracy buff. All right. Now, so that's only the essential part of it, and the what about the this one is kind of nice because in a neural panic as the Phoenix form, it actually irresistible terrified duration. So that's very nice. Use it in conjunction with this one. So after you do a signature, after that you can stun it again. So that is irresistible. Whenever it's off cooldown, do it. All right. So, but if you toggle out, of course, in the Phoenix, in the human form, then there's something that is a little bit different because it does confusion instead. So yeah, another flavor to it. Well, I mean, there's actually, I'm thinking between this one and this one, where should I put my pawns? So, I would, at the end, maybe I put something on health and so on and so forth, just to make my Jean a little bit more tanky, because sometimes in those, like a cosmic patrol environment, I can't really see the thing on the ground, like the arrow, red arrow and so on. So I tend to miss those things, and she can still survive somehow, the Phoenix. All right, Mind Crush is something more for the non-Phoenix, the human form, because this one is just like it's something that you do a stun, but I have a lot of stun already, and it will be immune to this sort of stun anyway. But if you are in a human form, that's very nice because it gives you a cooldown. It's a cooldown power. All right, so that is all on the build. Now the next bit is on the well, let's go on and talk about Omega system as well, and the 10 point on spin tag, and after that a little bit of health regen. Somehow I like these sort of things, but you could take away those points. Jean is pretty powerful anyway these days. 13 points on this one. They give you a kind of crit and brutal and so on. Research all the way to 1 point here, give you a plus 10 energy. And then after that, 5 on Guild Suppression, give you a label of brutal. Then after that, this is just pawn dumper. And then I enjoy a little bit of like buff to energy as well as the area, so that's nice. Plus 9 on Warpath, and then a bit of Sabertooth as well, give me more brutal. So that's all. Hero synergy wise is very much it's very much standard. Pick something energy, pick something range, and that's about it. Pick something area as well because she does quite a lot of area. And the once I level up my War Machine, I probably would pick the +1 fighting as well. So that is very nice. All right, so that's on the build and the Omega. So the next one is the gear. So I'm going to go ahead and put back all the gears. So now I'm a hybrid. So whatever you read here is in conjunction with what I do, which is the hybrid build. All right, so When it comes to Jean, this is a very nice artifact for Jean because it gives her the kind of like, this one gives her the buff for the energy part and the mental part because she does everything on area. So this is a very, very nice artifact for Jean, for this particular Jean, Phoenix Jean. Either specialization will be fine. Then this one is the dupe ectoplasm, also very nice. If you look at the energy and mental part, it grants quite a fair bit to damage against the boss and so on. So these are very nice, like a hybrid, so-called hybrid gear. And this is also a nice hybrid gear because it gives you the kind of like crit damage rating as well as the mental as well, give you more damage rating. So the max roll I think is 1777, and also I think so this is not a very nice roll, but it's sufficient in a sense. Jean is so powerful. Then on to the medallion. I think previously I picked this one because the hero changed quite a fair bit. Power duration nowadays is getting a little bit confusing. You can't really observe what is really on the toolbar, and sometimes they explicitly tell you that it doesn't affected by the unaffected by the power duration. Sometimes it's not. So the tooltip is very inconsistent on this one. So depends on your hero. If your energy, maybe pyro. If your mental, maybe wizard. These are some of the options out there. When it comes to hybrid hero, German Curse or Hand of Doom, those are very neutral. So regardless of energy or mental is very relevant. And because my Jean is 99% of time in Phoenix, as you can see, so I picked this one. Well, actually, this one doesn't really matter whichever, but it gives you range and give you damage, so that's very nice. The roll wise is sort of like it's okay. By the way, now you have all these like yellow and green comparison, though, so that's very nice. And the relics wise, I would just say use the range one because the crit damage you could use it for other hybrid on melee and range heroes, so you don't have to kind of sort of like, run out of relics if that's an issue for you. I'll put 250 or 500, that's fine. I've already covered this in my guide earlier on the legendary. So grade 70 power cosmic is very close to the grade 80 legendary. Well, it's quite fairly close, 3.8%, I guess. So it's not really a big deal. If you use this one, it's just as powerful. But of course, you could use the warlock if you are onto a mental Jean, or use the rod if you are onto energy Jean. All right. Ring wise, just pick something that makes sense for you. Now on to the costume, I would say crit damage rating is good, +1 energy if you can find it good, and whatever that you can add on to it, do it. Insignia, I would prefer to pick something that is on the area power. So all those insignia you have on the area power, you have save it, so use it for Jean. And pet wise, this is a very standard choice. Now on to the unique is kind of very interesting because she has a few other options as well. So maybe I should hold the Alt key, so some red, some green. So now you can see quite clearly whether your rolls are good or not. And but at the end of the day, just pay attention to the ranks as well. So now she has a few other options. So I'm going to cover this as well because, just in case you're interested to know. So now let's look at this one, Time Traveler uniform. And to be honest, if you look at my ranks here, it's already 50. And so this is 50, this is 50. So main spender 50, 50. Then after that, the Dark Phoenix is all 50. So, if I use the other one, so I've tried to compare quite a fair bit. So if I use this Time Traveler, and I would be like still 50, 50. Now this one become 50, but this one drop a little bit, I think. So drop 3, gain 3. So it is mainly just, for me, it's just to decide between this one or this one in the end, because this one has the +2 energy to it versus +1 fighting. So even if you toggle in and out, it's very much similar. So it wouldn't go wrong whichever we go. So just pick one that makes sense to you or have a better role. In terms of this guy here, again, you could toggle here and there, but I prefer my telepathy to be high as well because I want my spender to be at 50 because those are like the real spend. I mean, a lot of damage come from the spender. And last one here is also, the difference is not really that much. If you look at the Phoenix power rank versus telepathy rank is exactly the same. The rank wise is the same. So it is very much like whether you want the, I'm not a big fan of intelligence. It gives you a little bit of crit and brutal, but that's about it. But I would say the one that I use is good because it has the area power buff, damage buff as well. So that is decent. Very often everything in my toolkit is basically the area, and if you look at the brutal damage versus the crit damage rating, I'll pick the crit damage rating anytime. Alright, so I hope that is useful in terms of gear and so on. So the next bit of the video, I think I cover, okay, so the next bit of the video is about the number crunching itself, right? So on to the number crunching, it's not going to be something easy to talk about, but I wouldn't want this video to exceed like 1 hour kind of like duration. I think the duration would be too long, but there are some things that I'd like to share, probably, the assumptions with you, because that is important. If you are using the powerful harmony, I would assume that your Dark Phoenix uptime is 45% during that, the entire rotation. Otherwise, if you do not use power harmony that lose a 20% kind of like pace to it, then it's 36%, difference is 9%. So whatever buff that you get during the Dark Phoenix cycle, then there will be a discount to it, because you wouldn't get so much if you are not in the powerful harmony one. All right, so and also powerful harmony has the extra buff as well, because if you use liturgy, you will gain an extra. Powerful harmony has a buff. If you use Dark Phoenix on the mental form, you get another damage rating that equivalent to 12.5%. And after that, I neutralize the power team buff, because otherwise, mental human form is a clear winner because of the power buff. But when it is in a group play rating and so on, then the power buff difference is not that significant, because it will be covered by someone else. And also I ignore the Dark Phoenix damage type buff, as they cancel out each other, because whether there is a buff to the Dark Phoenix damage cycle, depending on your mental or whatnot, but at the end of the day, because they cancel out each other, I don't want to think too much about it. And also, like I mentioned before, Psychic Liturgy has an energy buff to it on the Dark Phoenix side. So now, as always, I look into these numbers here. So this is a warm-up for you guys. So I start with something like look into a mental side of it. Then mental give me this, and after that, the energy, which is the Phoenix form. So I have to keep toggling rank 20 without gear and so on. Then after that, I look at the Dark Phoenix form as well, but I haven't really dwelled too much onto this one because it's just basic power. Now let's look at something more interesting. Telekinetic throw, which was my spender before this change in the specialization. If you look at the mental one, it's about 30k, which is kind of okay. Okay, energy, how you do it is that, you always start with the, whatever in the tooltip first. After that, look into the Dark Phoenix form. Dark Phoenix will gain 15% damage, crit, whatnot. So, this will be buffed accordingly. And after that, you have to average them out in a sense, because based on the assumption here, then, on top, you have to sort of average them out. And after that, you gain something like, whether the, so that will be part of the working out the average between the Dark Phoenix and the Phoenix form. And after that, look into the specialization itself. Is that if it is energy, then there's a certain buff to it, and if it is mental, there's a certain kind of like difference in buff to it as well, because it's a 20% each for the weaken and vulnerability. So you can see and you can tell all these things as well. And after that, you have to work out on the Phoenix form, because when the Phoenix forms come, there is powerful harmony has certain buff to it as well. So you have to look into those things and and work out the so-called 36% to 64% kind of split to it, and that gives you kind of like an idea is that if you look at all these three, just the colored one, then the story is that Omega level mutant actually does a much better job in terms of the N number compared to the rest of the two. So that's as simple as that. All right, so if you are playing Omega level mutant, then definitely I would recommend a telekinetic throw. All right, so because it gives you 45, just take it as like an index, because with the gear, this one comes up a lot higher. Then I do the same thing for implosion as well, and implosion gives you kind of like crit and brutal damage, plus 100%, and work out so the Dark Phoenix will have a higher kind of like DPS as you would have imagined, but always average it, because your duration of Dark Phoenix is very much depending on whether you are powerful harmony or not. All right, so with that said, then you realize that the implosion of the Omega level mutants again a lot better, because because they give this kind of like a damage over time stack to it. So as you're dealing, as you do implosion, the damage over time will take in as well. So that buff that quite a fair bit, but you can't really use it as a spender, I would say. So at the end of the day, these are just academical. All right, this is a signature, so take it as it is. And then kinetic wave is interesting. So you have the mental version, you have the energy version. There's no funny thing on the Dark Phoenix form, so you just need to walk through the various kind of like nuances on the various. Like for instance, if you are doing the cosmic avatars, you'll get a damage over time onto this kinetic wave. So all in all, what it really says is that again, Omega level mutant is doing pretty well, but the cosmic avatar is still the best, and the powerful harmony is probably the biggest loser. Okay, well, it's not my choice. So psychic lethargy also, there's nothing really special about it. It's the same mental or energy is the same kind of DPS. The only thing to think about is that during the Dark Phoenix cycle, it have additional buff of 20% buff the energy damage for 10 seconds. So imagine if you have 15-second Dark Phoenix kind of duration, you probably would somewhere in the 15 second find a way to buff your entire remaining like 10-second kind of duration. So yeah, that is how it go into mathematics inside. Mind Crush is pretty useless if you are not using mental, because that's why I'm not going to model it. When you use the mental though, there's quite a healthy buff to it, so I would say this is a very viable layer. If you are using the mental gene, you don't need to do stand-ons, then yeah, I mean, use the Mind Crush, highly recommended. When it comes to Psychic Hammer, then the telepathy actually, the Omega level mutant actually has execute function to it. And execute work in a way that missing health deal more damage, so I usually take 50% buff as the just on average, because initially it's not a lot, but towards the end it's a lot, so it all average out to 50%. But it still can't beat the for Omega level mutant, can't beat the telekinesis throw, so I would still recommend the telekinesis throw for the Omega level mutant. A lot of words here. Sorry about that. So that is the Psychic Hammer. Psychic Hammer is really for the Phoenix as well. So now this is, well, I mean, finally something is winning on the powerful harmony side, because it does give you extra projectile deal half of the normal damage, so it's sort of like double it up. And during the Dark Phoenix cycle, again, you have to do the calculation of when, how much of it's going to Dark Phoenix cycle. And after that, you can look into the Phoenix form as well. So it is a little bit of difference, yeah. But then, because this one gives you a faster Phoenix Force generation during the Dark Phoenix time, so again, I mean, this one is very hard to model in, because I don't really. You have to do a lot of experimentation there. So I would say, all in all, it will still benefit in a very in a tangible way, but it's not very easily observable, right? So just take it as it is, just an estimation here, right? So now Phoenix Drain is interesting, because for Omega level mutant is actually doing 43.8 versus what I talked about above, which is the telekinetic throw. So it's comparable, but why take the second best when you are the best? So yeah, I mean, so that's a drain. So yet another academic exercise. Not much outcome to it. And the Phoenix Inferno is the two area that you dump it in. Again, energy or mental is the same thing. Just bear in mind that powerful harmony buff this guy. Then after that, you have Dark Phoenix on that, whereby you know, it's just some buff there, we cancel out each other. And the powerful harmony, this one is again very hard to model. So I would assume that it's a twice per second that it hits. Now it doesn't scale with rank of the Dark Phoenix. So, you know, I just take it as it is. I mean, it could well, this one could well have gone up because, you know, even if you play powerful harmony, you do have some sort of like damage over time that's taking it. So whenever you deal energy damage, you have a chance, 25% chance to deal extra damage. Now, so I started with the raw power. After that, I need to compare because it's just too much junk. I mean, not junk, it's not too much mathematics inside. So what I've done is that I extract out you know, what I've got from the first sheet and just look at the power that I would probably pick for the build itself. And now I look into the DPS. Now the only difference is that I have 15% penalty on main spender now, because when you're doing the signature for 2 seconds, you are not doing the spender, so you have to take some penalty. And as you deal other damage like the you know, debuff and so on, you are not doing the main spender. So, you know, I have to apply the kind of penalty on each of the main spender. All right. So looking at all these numbers and the and so on. So what I would like to say is that you know, I calculate the estimated rotational DPS. Now, this is not at all trivial to talk about, but what I've done is that those that appear already in color, I take it as it is. Those are not, like for example, like the which one is easier to explain to you? For example, things like the signature somewhere. Where is my signature? Yeah, okay, it's so small. Signature here. So this one, it depends on whether it is, so, you know, for this one, going into the powerful harmony would get slightly more buff. Because of the you know, the 2 buff that powerful harmony has, while the omega level mutant doesn't have. So some of these buffs are being worked in as well. So, you know, all these things are in, then scores are out. But like I said, you know, these are just indication on whether things are really falling too far apart or not. And by design, it is not too far. Now this one could go up or down very much depending on this one here, because, you know, the moment I change this one to a little bit higher, it's very sensitive, right? So this one could get closer to this one. So I don't want to fudge it too much. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just, you know, for me to fully understand how the whole build works and have confidence in making this video. All right. So when it comes to the legendary, again, you know, it's the first time I could actually put Warlock and CCR side by side with each other. So, you know, thanks to one of the viewer, I now have a much more intelligent way to derive the crit hit rating using this very simple formula, as well as the brutal crit rating with this very simple formula. And then again, I compare all these things, rank up a score. You've already seen it on the guide. After that, look into the legendary, but with the hybrid gear proc, because I then change all these things here on this side as well to give a picture that's closer to what it is. So, well, I hope you have enjoyed this part of the video. You know, it is getting a bit too long, but Jin is a very complex hero, and I would like to give my full attention to Jin, and I hope this guy is going to last for a while, because the last guy took me a while to make. And yeah, oh, I haven't really talked about the rotation. My apologies. So when it comes to the rotation, very much. When it comes to Jin's rotation, is very much straightforward, because, you know, everything you look at the kinetic wave as the marker. Kinetic wave is a 5-second cooldown. Lethargy is a 10-second debuff, and after that you have this guy here in a very oddly 13-second kind of thing. So whether you would like to reapply with the lethargy or not, up to you, or you like to observe the ground and see whether the inferno disappear and you reapply or not, up to you. I prefer something straightforward and just use it, because whenever I'm in Dark Phoenix form, it's very kind of like, you know, I got fire everywhere, and after that I've got a signature here. Dark Phoenix will use when I have this to be full. Now okay, so stand dancing, right? So F1 is charge, F2 is my cloud control breaker, F3 is my toggle to Phoenix or non-Phoenix, yeah, so that's all. F5 is when I can fly. All right, so yeah, there's a lot of toggling here and there. So, you know, I just do a fast forward, so it's always like you know, do 2 layers of this kinetic wave and just do a signature, and after that make sure that you're engaged back, and after that do a kinetic wave, and then before that expire, reapply the lethargy and the 2 level of whatever, then go up there, And after that, when that one is full, toggle out, and then after that, go into Dark Phoenix, toggle back in, and after that, you can do the same thing again, just buff, and then after that, make sure that re-engage though, because now the stand dancing is very different from the past. In the past, stand dancing is very smooth. Now it's very clunky. You may lose your calf, like a focus and target and so on. So just make sure you pay attention to whether you need to re-engage or not, because it is just what it is. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this guide, and as always, inside the underneath the description, there's a link back to my website wilfredwong.com, and there's a whole lot of other guides as well for you to enjoy maybe. Yeah, okay, see you next time. Bye.